like lose a hero or well, I mean he only had heroes, so yeah, you lose a hero, and you know, maybe turn the game around and allow Grubby to press his base, maybe kill more of his base. You just want to keep everything safe and make sure you have your units, because it's better safe than sorry, and losing a hero is definitely a critical mistake in any aspect of the game. So at this point, even though it's late game, Fob is still not expoed, and as an undead, you probably don't want to, because your expos are extremely vulnerable to harassment. And with wolves, as you see Grubby doing right here, he'll just scout them out anyway. So you really don't want to expo until you absolutely have to, or it's at a point where you can safely do so. Whereas with Uruk, you just want to go out there and do it too. Uruk, do you have anything
okay.
Uruk, do you have anything you want to say at this point in the game?
I think the biggest problem right now for Grubby is those two undead hero levels. Those are really going to be a huge problem for him, and in my opinion, the deciding factor in this game. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now.
Yeah, and if you can see,
I'm not.
What, Pant3ra?
I'm sorry for cutting in again. I'm not really sure why Grubby used the speed scroll while he was fighting Fobs, because it does, from what I know, a speed scroll doesn't increase your attack speed, and also those destroyers could have easily devoured it. So, if I were you, I would not copy that for anyone who's listening.
I think the reason he did that, however, was to help back up his Wind Riders away from the gargoyles that were coming to kill him. And I know it didn't help that much because with Nova, it pretty much canceled the effect anyway. So it was kind of one of those, like, it could have worked, but it didn't. So yeah, at an amateur level, it's probably not a good idea either, because that's easy mana for destroyers. But yeah, that's a good point. What's up, Uruk?
Nova, if you put a speed scroll on, the units move at their maximum speed capacity, so Nova doesn't affect that. So that's maybe one more reason he did put it on the speed scroll, is to get his Wind Riders back from the Nova.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. I thought that Nova would still slow them down, but apparently not. Anyway, so now that Fob's mine has been drained, he now moves his acolytes over, because at this point you have to expo. If you don't expo now, you pretty much guarantee to lose the game. You won't have any gold income, and that's never good, and never is really beneficial to you, especially if your opponent has income. So at this point, Bob is going to expo, and he's going to press, because whenever you expo, you want to press to make sure that your opponent doesn't go after your expo, and allows you to safely return gold income. Grubby used some wolves, and I think a peon as well, to scout to make sure his buddy in 4K doesn't have an expo either. And so now we're going to see one of the concluding battles coming out here pretty soon. And if you notice, Fob does, as he's been doing the whole game, he just kind of like holds his gargoyles back, just so Grubby uses his bats initially on the destroyers, and then he brings the gargoyles in and owns. So the battle goes, and again he starts focusing on some ghouls and stuff, and then the gargoyles come in, and Nova goes off. Grubby does a better job here by hiding his bats, which is what you want to do as Uruk, is hide the bats, so that he can't nuke the bats, and they can still land and kill the gargoyles. And he did a really good job of killing those. But because he had so many more Wind Riders, the gargoyles there's still enough gargoyles to counter that. Now that the air is pretty much gone, it's basically down to raiders and heroes. And what's up, Uruk?
Oops, sorry about that. Here you can see that Uruk does have the definite food advantage, and undead is still ripping the Uruk apart right now. And late game, this is really bad for the Uruk. Undead heroes are insanely good late game, and especially on a map with a mana fountain. So you really want to be careful right now. I probably would have regrouped or something, because Grubby just lost his whole entire army to those two undead heroes. I think if he would have regrouped, and had raiders and stomp, he could have maybe killed an undead hero, and that would have put the game in his favor.
Yeah, the undead heroes are probably some of the best late game heroes. Orc heroes really aren't, except for Torn Chieftain. They really have very weak finals in respect to game-changing abilities. They're pretty much all positioning. I mean, Earthquake is just for base killing, and Big Bad Voodoo from Shadowhunter is pretty much pointless. So, yeah, undead heroes with that late game nuke, and that's pretty good. Anyway, so Grubby, and as good Orc players always do, is has scouted out his expo with his wolves, and he's just going to pick off acolytes because it's level 3 wolves, and with armor types and critical strike on the wolves, it really just rips those acolytes to shreds. Right, Pant3ra?
Yeah, also, too, I noticed he took the 2 acolytes that the wolves were following, and he started to run them back to the middle of nowhere, basically. So then once those 2 acolytes did end up dying eventually, the wolves would have to run all the way back to his gold mine, and by then the wolves would be unsummoned. Grubby would have really summoned.
Yeah, that's a good point. So now you can see the undead nuke is really starting to own, as he basically just killed a raider with almost full health with 1 coil and 1 nova. So it's almost kind of imbalanced, but again, tier 2 expo is the way to go. So overall, it's fairly even, if not in the favor of the orc a little bit.
One thing I'd like to say too, with a fountain of mana, you don't really have to conserve your mana on your heroes, as for obvious reasons there's a fountain of mana, so you regen it a little faster. So if you see anything whatsoever that's low health, or even like near low health, but you know you won't kill it, but you know it'll be low on life, go ahead and use the spell on it, because they're not going to be able to regenerate life anyways, because it's a mana fountain. And so if you just keep spamming it enough, eventually they will die, or they will be forced to spend some more gold on potions or whatnot.
I think the same applies with Orc. I see a lot of players not using their mana while they could be getting a kill. That's one thing. Another thing Grubby does well is he uses his mana very effectively. Some people may say it's a waste sometimes, but I think if you kill one unit, that mana is worth it. You have clarities that you can use to regenerate your mana, so that isn't a problem. And if you can waste even a small unit like a ghoul, 120 gold, a clarity is only 70 gold, so it's still worth it.
And as you can see right there, the Farseer, which is an intelligence hero, excuse me, an intelligence hero, meaning low HP and low armor. The nuke and focus fire just absolutely owned it almost instantly, and that's enough to win the game basically. Is because once your hero's dead and you have no more gold, there really isn't much you can do. So that's pretty much the conclusion of the game. I hope you really got a good feel for what Fob does here, and let's go in for some closing comments. Pant3ra, anything you want to say to sum up here?
No, the end of the game is really nice. Also, too, if it comes down to just the undead heroes versus the orc heroes and maybe a couple units, you really want to make sure your Death Knight and maybe your Lich, if you have enough gold, has an invulnerability potion or invisibility potion. Well, the invisibility potion may be cheaper. However, Stomp will pretty much own the Death Knight, and you won't really be able to go out of it anyways. And if he has wards or whatever, the invulnerability potion would be better, but you want to do that because the Stomp and the level 3 wolves with critical strike and everything, focusing down on your Death Knight is really going to hurt.
Alright, thanks Devin. And Uruk, what do you have to say about the matchup? Or the match?
Personally, I found that the undead won due to hero levels and the unique unit combo he used. It was a very different strategy, and I don't think Grubby's seen something like that before, so he wasn't prepared for it. I think if he saw it next time around, he would be much more prepared for it, and would probably be winning. I think he just have to use his bats a little bit more effectively, and he would be able to pull off the win. Also, this is a very important part of the audio. I highly recommend you listen to it more than once, because I want this memorized for my next audio. If you don't, you guys are in big trouble.
Ryder is the biggest noob public in the whole goddamn world. Good game, no way.
Well, thank you there, Uruk. That's definitely an interesting way of trying to describe that I am a noob. So, this was an audio commentary by your favorite 3 commentators, and no freaks, so we're lucky. And that's going to bring me to the end of this audio, so thanks for listening, and peace out.
Ryder is a noob.